Let's start with part 2, where you'd get a topic card and have 1 minute to prepare a 1 to 2 minute response.
Bring it on.
All right, your topic is describe an occasion when you helped a family member or relative with something.
Okay. Let me try a Band-Aid answer first. I'd like to talk about a time when I helped my younger cousin with his school project. This happened about 2 months ago when he had to make a model of the solar system for his science class. He was struggling with it because he didn't know how to start, so I decided to help him. First, we looked up some ideas online and then went to buy the materials like colored paper, glue, and foam balls. After that, I showed him how to paint the planets and arrange them in order. It took us a few hours, but we managed to finish it on time. I felt really happy about helping him because he was so excited and grateful. Later, he told me that his teacher loved the project and gave him good marks. It made me feel proud that I could make a difference for him. So how did I do?
That's a clear and understandable story, but remember, we're aiming for Band 9.
Okay.
Let's hear what a Band 9 answer might sound like.
All right, take 2. I'd like to describe an instance when I helped my older sister move into her new apartment. This happened about 6 months ago when she relocated to another city for her job. She had a lot of things to pack and organize, so I offered to assist her over the weekend. I helped her pack her belongings into boxes, label them properly, and load them into the moving truck. Once we reached her new place, I also helped her unpack and arrange her furniture and other items. It was quite tiring, but also fun because we worked together and even ordered pizza after finishing everything. I felt really good about helping her because she was very stressed about the move, and my support made things easier for her. It also gave us a chance to spend quality time together, which I really enjoyed. I feel like that one was a bit more sophisticated.
It was, even though both answers describe helping a relative.
Yeah.
The second one feels much richer and more engaging, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. But what exactly makes it a Band 9 response? I mean, it's not just about the story itself, right?
You're right, it's not just about the story itself. There are a few key things at play here. First, notice the vocabulary in the Band 9 answer.
Okay.
Words like, relocated, assist, belongings, properly, arrange, tiring.
Yeah.
These words are more sophisticated.
Yeah.
They add nuance to the story.
And they're not just like big words for the sake of big words. They actually like enhance the storytelling.
Exactly. The grammar in the Band 9 answer is also more complex. For example, once we reached her new place, I also helped her unpack and arrange her furniture and other items. This sentence uses a subordinate clause,
Oh, okay.
making the sentence structure more sophisticated than the simpler sentences in the Band 8 answer.
So it's like the vocabulary, the grammar, and how well like this story is told all like working together.
Exactly. It's about showcasing a strong command of the language and using it effectively to paint a vivid picture for the listener.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this. But part 3 is where things get even trickier, right?
Yeah.
That's where the follow-up questions come in.
Part 3 tests your ability to kind of engage in a deeper discussion and express your opinions on more abstract topics related to your Part 2 story.
Okay.
So be ready to think on your feet.
Okay, challenge accepted. Hit me with those part 3 questions.
All right. First question. How do people know that their neighbors might need help? Let's hear a Band 8 answer for that one.
I think people can tell if their neighbors need help by observing their behavior or routine. For example, if someone hasn't been seen for a long time or looks upset, it might mean they need support.
Good. Now give me a Band 9 version.
People can often sense that their neighbors need help by paying attention to changes in their behavior or daily activities. For instance, if a neighbor seems unusually quiet, misses regular social interactions, or struggles with tasks like carrying groceries, it could indicate they might need assistance.
Excellent. Notice how the Band 9 answer dives a little deeper, right?
Yeah.
Providing more specific examples of what needing help might look like in everyday life. It also uses stronger vocabulary like sense and indicate to convey a more nuanced understanding.
Yeah, I see how those like subtle changes really elevate the response.
Exactly. Okay, next question. Do neighbors often help each other in your country?
Band-Aid answer. Yes, in my country, neighbors usually help each other, especially in small towns or villages. They might share food during festivals or help with small tasks like fixing something at home.
Okay. Now for Band 9.
In my country, neighbors often lend a hand when needed, particularly in close-knit communities or rural areas where people have stronger social bonds. They assist with things like childcare, household repairs, or even organizing community events.
Good. What stands out to you when you compare those two answers?
Well, the Band 9 answer, again, like, provides more specific examples.
Uh,
Instead of just saying, like, fixing something at home, it mentions, childcare and community events,
Right.
which gives a better sense of the range of help being offered.
Right. And it also touches on the idea of stronger social bonds, which adds a little bit of social commentary to the response. It shows you're not just, repeating memorized phrases, but actually thinking about the question.
Interesting. Okay, bring on question 3.
Here it is. Should parents reward their children when they help others?
Band 8 answer. Yes, I think parents should reward their children sometimes because it encourages them to keep helping others. The reward doesn't have to be big. Even saying thank you is enough.
And now the Band 9 version.
I believe parents should acknowledge their children's efforts when they help others as it reinforces positive behavior. However, instead of material rewards, parents could offer praise or recognition to instill intrinsic motivation for being kind and helpful.
I'm noticing a pattern here.
Mhm.
Do you see it too?
Definitely. The Band 9 answers are consistently like going beyond a simple yes or no.
Right.
They're exploring different angles and offering more well-rounded perspectives.
Exactly. They demonstrate a deeper understanding of the topic, and that's what examiners are looking for. Ready for the next one?
Absolutely.
All right, question 4. What can children learn by helping others?
Band 8 answer. Children can learn important things like kindness and teamwork by helping others. It also teaches them how to solve problems and be responsible.
Okay, now try a Band 9 response.
Helping others teaches children valuable life skills such as empathy, cooperation, and problem solving. It also fosters a sense of responsibility and helps them understand the importance of contributing positively to their community.
I like how you incorporated more sophisticated vocabulary into that Band 9 answer.
Yeah.
Using words like empathy and contributing positively to really emphasize the positive impact of helping others.
Yeah, it feels like those subtle word choices really make a difference in demonstrating a more mature understanding of the topic.
They do. Let's move on to question 5. Should parents always help their children with everything?
Here's the Band-Aid answer. No, I think parents shouldn't help with everything because children need to learn how to do things on their own. Parents can guide them but not do everything for them.
Okay, now let's hear the Band 9 response.
While parents should support their children when needed, it's important not to overdo it, as this may hinder the child's independence and problem-solving abilities. Striking a balance between guidance and allowing children to handle challenges on their own is crucial for their development.
Excellent. Do you see how the Band 9 answer not only states an opinion, but also provides a clear justification for that opinion?
Yes, it dives into, the why behind the no.
Right.
Explaining, the potential consequences of overhelping and emphasizing the importance of finding that balance.
Exactly. Okay, last question. How can children help their parents at home?
Band-Aid answer. Children can help by doing small chores like cleaning their room or setting the table for meals. They can also take care of younger siblings when needed.
Now try a Band 9 response.
Children can assist their parents in various ways at home, such as tidying up their rooms, helping with meal preparation or grocery shopping, and taking care of younger siblings or pets. These tasks teach responsibility while easing the workload of their parents.
Great job. Now that we've gone through all 6 Part 3 questions, what stands out to you about the differences between the Band 8 and Band 9 answers?
Well, it's obvious that, vocabulary plays a huge role. The Band 9 answers consistently use more sophisticated language, but it's not just about using big words for the sake of it. The word choices add nuance, precision, and a sense of maturity to the responses.
I agree, and the Band 9 answers consistently showcase deeper thinking. They go beyond simple agreement or disagreement, offering well-rounded perspectives, explaining their reasoning, and even connecting their answers to broader social contexts.
It's like the Band 9 answers are engaging in a conversation,
Right.
while the Band 8 answers are simply responding to questions.
That's a fantastic way to put it. It's not just about providing information, it's about demonstrating your ability to think critically and engage with the ideas being discussed.
So to really nail Part 3, it's not enough to just have a good vocabulary.
Right.
You need to be able to use that vocabulary effectively to express nuanced ideas and engage in a meaningful discussion.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack further as we analyze these answers in more detail.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how much of a difference those subtle changes in language and approach can make.
Right.
It's like the Band 9 answers are operating on a whole other level.
Yeah, they really are. It's not just about, sounding intelligent. It's about Really showing the examiner that you can grasp the nuances of the topic and articulate your thoughts, in a sophisticated way.
So for our listener who is aiming for that Band 9, like what are some actionable takeaways from this deep dive?
Yeah.
What can they actually do to like elevate their responses?
That's a great question. First, let's talk about vocabulary.
Okay.
It's clear that using a wider range of vocabulary is essential for a Band 9 score, but don't just try to memorize a bunch of fancy words.
Right, because using words incorrectly can actually hurt your score more than using simpler language correctly.
Exactly. Instead, focus on building your vocabulary organically. Read widely, pay attention to how words are used in different contexts, and try to incorporate new words into your everyday conversations.
So it's about like expanding your vocabulary toolbox
Yeah.
and learning how to like use those tools effectively.
Precisely. Another key takeaway is to think beyond simple agreement or disagreement.
Oh.
Don't be afraid to explore different perspectives, acknowledge the complexities of an issue, and explain your reasoning.
Like in the question about rewarding children for helping others.
Right.
The Band 9 answer didn't just say yes or no. It considered the potential downsides of material rewards.
Yeah.
And highlighted the importance of like intrinsic motivation.
Exactly. That kind of nuanced thinking is what sets Band 9 answers apart. And remember, specific examples are your friends.
Yeah.
They make your answers more concrete, relatable, and engaging.
It's like the difference between saying neighbors help each other and saying neighbors help each other with childcare, home repairs, and even organizing community events.
Right.
The second one just paints a much clearer picture.
Absolutely. And don't forget about grammar.
Okay.
While it's not the only factor, using a variety of sentence structures and grammatical constructions can make your speech sound more sophisticated and fluent.
So it's all about bringing those different elements together.
Yeah.
Vocabulary, grammar, nuanced thinking, and specific examples.
Yeah.
To create like a cohesive and impressive response.
That's it in a nutshell. Now think about this. Even if you're not taking the IELTS exam, these skills,
Right.
expressing yourself clearly, supporting your ideas with examples, and considering different viewpoints, these are all incredibly valuable in any communication setting.
Wow, that's so true. It's like the IELTS speaking exam is like a training ground for becoming a more effective communicator overall.
Exactly. So whether you're preparing for the IELTS or just looking to improve your communication skills in general, pay attention to the way you express yourself. Choose your words carefully, structure your sentences thoughtfully, and don't be afraid to dive a little deeper into the topic at hand.
I love that. And for our listener, if you're ready to dive even deeper into IELTS preparation, we highly recommend checking out that Hack the IELTS Speaking Exam podcast episode that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's packed with helpful tips and strategies.
And remember, the journey to a Band 9 score is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself, practice consistently, and most importantly, enjoy the process of learning and growing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the IELTS speaking exam. We hope you found this episode insightful and helpful on your journey to achieving your language goals. Until next time, keep those conversations flowing.